What's up, Tanner J-Man Show Nation? This is Tanner Lee, one half of the Tanner J-Man Show, and on behalf of myself and my co-host Josh the J-Man Munt, we appreciate you listening to our podcast. If you're a new listener to our podcast, please subscribe wherever you get your podcasts at. If that happens to be on Apple Podcasts, please give us a rating and review, as that helps us out a bunch. Watch our podcast live every Monday night from 6:30 to 7:30 Eastern Standard Time on the ISC Sports Network, and make sure to give us a like on Facebook and a follow on Twitter and Instagram at Tan and J-Man Show. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy some hot takes, topics, picks, and more on a brand new episode of the Tan and J-Man Show.
We are back with another episode of the Tan and J-Man Show. Happy daylight savings time, everybody. It was dark as crap this morning when I was trying to get out of bed, but hey, at least it's light now, which I hadn't been in a while. And you know what? It feels like spring. I don't know what the temp is there, but it's about 65 degrees here. It's perfect.
That's 61 on my computer. So.
That is just a perfect NCAA tournament weather.
Amen to that.
Spring break coming up for those education folk. Good time to be alive. How you doing tonight there, Tam?
I'm doing good. You said a lot of things. I was going to kind of say about the weather. The first day of spring is coming up this Sunday on the 20th. Today's Pie Day. Did you know that?
I'm going to have to get myself some pie.
3.14 pie. Yeah. So
sir.
You can get yourself a pizza pie or a pie as dessert. What's your favorite kind of pie? Dessert.
Oh man.
I've seen you smash a strawberry pie a time or two.
Strawberry pie is probably my favorite.
That's not mine too.
My fiance makes a really good apple pie.
Ooh, apple's a good one.
Apple's a good one. Don't tell her this, but kind of got sick of it after eating it about once a month there.
Yeah,
but,
she doesn't. She doesn't listen to our podcast.
That's a good point. That's a good point. She's not a sports person. Probably, you know what? 4th of July strawberry pie. Your aunt makes the best strawberry pie ever.
Yeah, we kind of got in trouble a few years ago for crushing that pie by ourselves.
And then she had to make 2 the next year.
Yeah. I will say I'm not a pumpkin pie guy.
I cannot stand pumpkin.
No, I like key lime pie. I know a lot of people don't, but I like key lime.
Yeah, I know you're a big sugar cream pie fan.
Sugar cream, absolutely.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Man, I want some pie now.
Yeah, pie sounds really good. I'm going to have to get my fiance to make me some pie tonight.
There you go.
She'll probably smack me in the face if I ask, but it's worth a try.
It's always worth a try. Always worth a try. Well, I got some birdie bogey for you.
All righty.
I'm going to let you. I got 2 questions, but I'm going to let you pick which one you want.
How about this? What if I pick both and I get both right? Do we get an eagle?
Yeah. Why not? Let's mix it up. Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes. So I'll give you 2. Okay.
And if I get both wrong, see, I want to be able to choose. Yes. If I get both wrong, then what happens? Do I get
double bogey?
Double bogey. Oh man, that's a tough one.
Yeah. If you get one right, one wrong, then you get a birdie and a bogey, so you're even.
So I get a par essentially.
Yeah.
Give me one.
All right. Do you want? I'll give you the other one for fun. After you pick which one you want. Do you want one that's team oriented or one that's coach oriented?
Kind of want to do the coach one.
Coach one. All right. Bill Self, one of your favorites, became the 3rd coach to have a 1 seed 10 or more times in the NCAA tournament.
10 or more times?
Mm-hmm. Who are those other 2 coaches?
That's a real tough one. That's a good question, though.
The other question that I was letting you pick from, who's the last I'm going to say Power 6 because of the Big East, who's the last non-Power 6 conference team to win a national championship?
Win a national title. So that means they're in a Power 6 conference now.
No, okay. They are not. They are outside the Power 6 now.
Now, okay. Well, that's sorry. That's what I meant. Because I'm like, good.
Yes.
I don't think like Villanova was back in the 80s or something like that.
No, and I had to say Power 6 because football's Power 5 because there's no Big East. So
the last one to win a national title. Oh man, that's a good one. Can I answer now?
Yeah, you can answer now.
I'm trying to think of all the national titles here the past So many years. Say Houston? Did Houston even win? No, they lost to
Houston
NC
was
State.
runner-up a bunch. They were runner-up
Yeah.
2, if not 3 times, so it was not them. That's who I thought it was until I looked this up.
I don't know.
UNLV in 1990.
Oh, shoot. I should have known that. My mom just texted me about pie. She makes an amazing peanut butter pie. I completely forgot. That's
way
probably,
to go. Way to go. You forgot your mom's pie.
That's actually probably my favorite pie, too.
What a son you are.
Yep.
That sounds really good right now.
Yeah, I love that peanut butter pie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the good thing is you got nothing. You aren't getting penalized for missing that question.
Yeah.
So
should have known that though. Larry Johnson, Greg Anthony.
Yep. Running Rebels.
Yep, they're pretty good. Birdie Bogey brought to you by Noble Gnome LLC for fresh, locally grown, nutrient-dense produce from Bryce and Katie Romine of Mentone, Indiana. Like them on Facebook, follow them on Instagram, and check out their website, noblegnomellc.com. It's springtime, so get your veggies.
It is springtime. Get your veggies. Get your merch. Noble Gnome merch. They got a merch store up there. So make sure they got T-shirts. They got beanies. They got hats. They got backpacks. They got all kinds of cool things, different colors. So definitely get on their website and check that out.
Yes,
and speaking of merch, J-Man, we have a promotion starting today through April 14th. So the next month, use promo code MARCH. That's in all caps. Free shipping.
Nice.
TannandJManShowStore.com.
You guys need to get some merch. We got some pretty cool stuff on that there store. Tanner's wearing a shirt right now.
I am. Yes. Yep, for all the viewers out there. So, and I'm constantly working on some new stuff. I'm just very slow at rolling it out. So, be on the lookout here in the next month or two for some new designs.
Yes, sir. What do you want to start with tonight?
Well, we have a bunch of stuff. Well, of course, we got tons of hoops to talk about. Mm-hmm. We have a ton of NFL news to talk about. That's went down the last week. Why I'm wearing my hat here. But I want to talk baseball first. I want to make sure we get a little baseball talk in. I'll let you run with it. Baseball is back, J-Man.
They are back. You know, last week, I think I even said that I was really concerned that we wouldn't have a season at all. But they got together, and I think it was about Wednesday when they finally came together, and it got closer, got down to the 2-yard line, and then finally the new CBA was ratified by the owners. Haven't really looked at many details, but one huge detail that affects the game is the DH is now in the National League.
Love it.
For the first
love
time
it.
ever. So the me too. I absolutely love it. The last pitcher to have an at-bat for the Chicago Cubs, this will be a trivia question here in a few years, Corey Abbott. Yeah.
You could have gave me 200 Cubs pitchers that I couldn't keep up with Corey Abbott.
Yeah, he was like a September call-up this year. Who knows if he'll even be around pitching the major leagues after last year. But, yeah, Corey Abbott was the last one. DH is there. Now, the interesting thing is all 8 of the players on the leadership for the union, which includes Max Scherzer, I think Francisco Lindor's on it, obviously 6 other players. Every single one of them voted no on the deal, but they took it to a vote with the other players and for every team, and they passed it. It's no coincidence that 5 of those 8 players on the committee were Scott Boras clients. So that tells you who's actually running the show. It's not the owners, it's not the players, it's Scott Boras is running the show. Famous agent. But so glad baseball's back. There's been a flurry of moves, a bunch of trades, too many to even, I mean, we'll do our Major League Baseball preview here in about 3 weeks or so we can cover all that then. But looks like we're going to get 162 games in. Spring training starts, at least for the Cubs, it starts Thursday, March 17th, and then opening day will be April 7th, it sounds like. So baseball's back. Sounds like they're going to have quite a few doubleheaders just to make up the first week plus that they're going to miss. But just
back to 9-inning doubleheaders, right?
Back to 9-inning doubleheaders. Did they do 9-inning doubleheaders last year?
7, wasn't it?
Was it 7? I couldn't remember if that was carried over from the COVID
I thought it was
year
7
or not.
last year, yeah.
I can't remember. But there's no runner on second base either in extra innings.
That was stupid.
I didn't like that. I can't remember. I think they did that last year as well, now that I think about it. It sounds like they're going to do something in 2023 to eliminate the shift.
Yeah.
Which I think's kind of dumb. I mean, it's strategy. I know you want more offense, but guys need to figure out how to
exactly. That's my point as a guy who's not a diehard baseball fan. Figure it out, tool your game to get around it. I mean, that's part of sports. I mean, you adapt the changes.
I saw something like, it was like, imagine the NFL quarterbacks couldn't figure out like the two high safeties or something.
Right.
So
I
they
saw
completely changed the rule for the quarterback. So it's, I mean, it's a little different, but kind of similar. But
the bases are going to get bigger.
The bases are supposedly getting bigger, which should help.
I was going to say, what's the advantage of that?
Injuries. I would think, like, especially at first base, because we see some collisions, really at any base, and I think that is part of we're trying to get more offense, so we're trying to get more stolen bases. It should be easier to steal bases, little easier. I don't think probably marginally so, but that's another thing they're trying to rationalize. So who knows? I mean, a lot of this, the players' issue was we need teams to start spending money again, and not be penalized for spending money. And it seems like the players made out okay in their new ratified deal. Not as good as I'm sure they wanted it to be, but I mean, you're never going to get a perfect deal,
right?
Especially when you're dealing with such horrible people like Major League Baseball owners.
Very greedy people.
But baseball's back. We'll get a lot more to talk on that here in the coming weeks, but just happy no longer have to worry about that.
Yeah, we don't have to worry about it from a podcast standpoint either.
Yeah.
We're not gonna have to get too creative, thankfully.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Anything else?
No. Reds are selling off everyone, so they might be the worst team in the major leagues this year, which is okay with me. I mean, we like to talk a lot of trash about the Reds on this program.
Yes.
So
it's fun.
It is. It's a lot of fun. Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
So, all right. Well, before we get into hoops or NFL talk, let's get on this day going here. Let me get my banner up. All right. I haven't even looked at this list. Imagine that. A lot of early Stanley Cup stuff.
They play the Stanley Cup playoffs now. They're about to start here, aren't they?
They'll be starting here soon. Avalanche have the best record in the National Hockey League right now, but one of their best players is hurt his knee. He has to have surgery. They're hoping they can get him back by time of some of the playoffs, but we'll see. On this day, 1954, Milwaukee Braves future home run king and Hall of Famer Hank Aaron homers in his debut exhibition game against the Boston Red Sox.
He's a pretty good right-handed stick there.
On this day, 1956, 50-year-old baseball pitching star Satchel Paige signed a contract to play for and manage the Birmingham Black Barons of the Negro National League.
Yeah, he pitched in the major leagues when he was I think he was in his 50s. Yeah, he said he was 50 then. On
this day, 1961, former New York Yankees general manager George Weiss became the first president of the New York Mets after the MLB expansion franchise formed. On this day, 1967, who was the first pick in the NFL draft by the Baltimore Colts?
67, first pick. Was that Johnny Unitas? I think he was playing by then.
No, it was Michigan State defensive end Bubba Smith.
Oh, Bubba. Should have got that one.
I just wanted to say it because of Bubba. On this day, 1972, the NBA's Cincinnati Royals announced they are moving their franchise to Kansas City because of poor home attendance.
Yeah, Cincinnati doesn't do very good attendance-wise.
The Bengals will next year.
Yeah, the Bengals definitely should. Yeah.
On this day, 1981, NCAA tournament, St. Joseph's upset the top-seeded DePaul 49-48.
Top-seeded DePaul will be something we will never say the rest of our lives.
That's why I brought it up. I thought you might have a good
NCAA tournament team DePaul might be something we never hear again.
Yeah, and maybe. I don't know. They got off to a good start this year and then folded. A lot of SEC and ACC and Big East tournaments. On this day last year, the PGA Players Championship was won by Justin Thomas as he edged out Lee Westwood by one stroke. He won $2.7 million of the winner's share of the $15 million purse.
That'd be nice.
Even higher this year, and that tournament should have just ended. It finally ended. It's been the most weather impacted PGA tournament I've ever seen.
I didn't even know what was going on.
Took like I think 54 hours to get round one done.
I did see that. Yeah. 54 hours. It's crazy.
And it was incredible to come some of the conditions they were playing through with the wind and rain and everything.
Oh yeah, that's Sawgrass, right?
Yeah. Yep.
That's right. Where didn't they say it was like 30-mile-an-hour winds or something like that?
Yep. And number 17 was almost just unplayable for the guys. Water balls everywhere on Saturday.
Was it Koepka shot 5 over on that hole?
Yep, he put 2 in the water.
He in his career he's like 22 over or something like that just on that hole.
Great week to put a $10 bet on Brooks Koepka like I did because he was like 10th favorite. Well, usually he's like top 5. I'm like, oh, this is kind of the biggest non-major tournament. He's gonna play well. I'm gonna take him for $10, and he doesn't even make the cut. So, yeah. Yeah, but a short on this day list this week for sports events that happened on March 14th. But the On This Day segment is brought to you by Mooney Woodcrafts. Mooney Woodcrafts is a veteran-owned and operated custom woodcraft shop based out of North Carolina with Indiana grassroots. They provide 100% hand-cut custom designs to fit your needs. From signs to growth charts, their custom pieces make a great addition to any home, office, or man cave. To see some of the recently completed projects, visit their Instagram page at Mooney Woodcrafts, or you can go on their Facebook page. And for orders, contact them at mooneywoodcrafts@gmail.com. And here's one of the pieces I've had Thad do for me in the past. This is a Tan and J-Man Show 1. I also have a Broncos one, a Purdue one, a Boiler Breakdown one, which is another podcast I do. So, like we said last week, he's very talented, very talented. He can do just about anything, and
very much so.
He's working on new designs all the time. All right, J-Man, I'm putting the ball in your court. What are we talking about next?
Let's talk some NFL here.
Let's do it.
Legal tampering period, I think, started today.
It did.
Although there have been so many moves announced from the past 2 weeks.
Yeah, let's be honest. There's tampering all the time.
Yeah, there's no such thing as legal tampering, or there's no such thing as illegal tampering, right. I should say.
Right.
Insane amount of quarterback movement.
Oh, man.
Aaron Rodgers staying in Green Bay.
Which we predicted.
Deshaun Watson not facing criminal charges.
Didn't really see that happening.
Me either. And then literally, what was it, like 45 minutes after Rodgers announced he was staying in Green Bay, the Denver Broncos made a pretty nice pivot there and traded for Russell Wilson.
Yes, they did. It made my week last week. I'm still kind of in disbelief that's happened just because, it was believed the whole time that Wilson was option 2, but you didn't hear a lot about it. Well, as more facts are coming out, it sounds like George Payton started working on this around Combine Week. So there was, because I think they kind of got tipped that Rodgers was going to stay in Green Bay. Sure. So he got on it pretty quickly. And according to Peter King, Sports Illustrated's Peter King, I think he's still Sports Illustrated. If not, he does Football Night in America and all that stuff. He had his Monday morning article this morning, and he said Wilson heard from 14 different teams. But Denver was the destination he wanted to go to. So happy to have him. Gave up a lot, but happy to have him.
Oh, sure. They're going all in to try to win a Super Bowl. The AFC West is by far the best division in football now.
Loaded.
You have 4 great quarterbacks there.
Yep.
And you have good defenses there as well. I saw J.C. Jackson just signed with the LA Chargers.
Yep.
You have a new coach there in Vegas, coming off a playoff appearance.
New coach in Denver. Yep.
New coach in Denver coming off a season where quarterback play was probably the one thing that kept them out of the playoffs. Yep. And they go and trade for a former elite guy. I still think he's really good on the downside of his career, but you can absolutely win with Russell Wilson.
And he's only 33 years old.
Yeah, I thought he was a lot. I thought he was like 35 or something like that.
Yeah. If they can get 6 years out of him, you take it in a heartbeat considering the quarterback carousel they've been on. And in Nathaniel Hackett, What first year coach, Matt LaFleur, I guess I just answered my question, but besides Matt LaFleur, what first year coach comes into a situation with a future Hall of Fame quarterback? There's still some
Right.
years left. I mean,
Yeah.
that's a luxury that not a lot of first year head coaches get. So, I mean, they got weapons around them. That was one thing I was ecstatic about what they end up giving up. I thought for sure Cortland Sutton, Jerry Jeudy, or Tim Patrick was going to be part of that package.
Mm-hmm.
Kept all of them. I mean, they got rid of Noah Fant, but he's got a lot of potential, but he wasn't really used correctly in Denver. Couldn't stay healthy. Got rid of Drew Lock, which I saw that coming. And then Shelby Harris, who's a good defensive tackle, but you can replace a defensive tackle.
Absolutely.
And then they gave away a bunch of picks, but I'm fine with it. I mean,
absolutely.
We've seen now more than ever in the NFL, you have to have a good quarterback to win games.
Yeah, I mean, look at the Rams. They haven't had a first-round pick since the Obama administration.
Very true.
They've been in 2 Super Bowls, won 1, and they're really good. I mean, trading for Matt Stafford. So, yeah, you got to go all in to get a quarterback in today's NFL for sure.
Yep. Your Dolphins got a backup quarterback, it looks like, today.
Yeah, Teddy. It was not the $24 million that he was wanting.
Yeah.
Ended up getting, I think, $5.5 million, which is about the going rate for a backup quarterback now.
He'll be a good backup.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, he just not really an everyday starter.
He's a better backup than Jacoby Brissett.
Yeah.
For sure.
I got to think he's a top 5 backup in the league.
I would say so. I mean, he's a guy that could easily still start somewhere.
Yeah, and if Tua gets banged up, you can put him in.
Which is very likely considering his track record. Or if you just want to put somebody in to spark the offense if Tua's really struggling. I mean, Bridgewater, you could do a whole lot worse than him.
So he will take care of the ball. He won't throw it downfield, but he'll take care of the ball.
Which, I mean, in this style of offense that Mike McDaniel likes to run, they like to run the ball a bunch. Throw to the run. I mean, you look at the running backs on San Francisco's roster the past couple of years, no big name guys, and they were just so super productive. I mean, Raheem Mostert, his career was made by Mike McDaniel and Kyle Shanahan.
He's a free agent now.
Which I guess McDaniel loves him, but they just signed Chase Edmonds today from Arizona.
Well, and it's scary to try to sign a free agent who's coming off major knee surgery. So,
I'm sure Mostert will pick up somewhere. More quarterback news, though. Mitch Trubisky signs with the Pittsburgh Steelers today, I presume to be a starter.
Yeah, 2-year contract. That was kind of rumored for a while. I thought and I'm sure he had interest from other teams. Interested to see what he can do given a second chance to start away from Matt Nagy.
Yeah. I mean, the Bills raved about him. Out there.
Matt Canada runs an offense in Pittsburgh that you need to be a little mobile. He can be mobile.
He's got some mobility to him.
Yeah.
Carson Wentz traded to the football team. What is their name now? Commanders.
Yeah.
I hate it.
I don't like it either. But I don't know. Washington, I guess, just really wanted a quarterback. Maybe another destination's good for Wentz. I'm really not sure. And go ahead.
Well, I'm sure the NFC East is thrilled to have him back.
NFC East is just quarterbacks are just not good besides Dak. Because the Trubisky, it sounded like the Giants were interested in him.
Interesting.
Even though they've already come out and said Daniel Jones is their guy. And then Philadelphia, you got Justin Fields, which I don't know if they're 100% sold on. So
Jalen Hurts.
That's what I'm at. Justin Fields plays for the Bears. Yep, thank you. Man, wow. But so it's interesting. Colts fans are getting very anxious on Twitter. They're sitting on $70 million worth cap. I think Jimmy G's in play there. If not Jimmy G, maybe Marcus Mariota.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't really.
They can try maybe try to get Derek Carr out of Vegas, but I don't know if McDaniels wants to trade him.
I wouldn't. I mean, then they're stuck with who,
right?
You know,
right. This draft class isn't, according to scouts, real
bad quarterback class.
Which I need to do my mock draft. I'm late doing my mock draft.
Yeah, you usually do one around combine time.
Yeah, I'm a little late on that. So maybe I won't do 3 this year. Maybe it'll just be 2. So I need to get on that.
What else? Oh, some huge news yesterday that Tom Brady took just about a month sabbatical.
40 days. 40 days.
then decided to come back. I don't know what he was thinking. Maybe just he probably made like an emotional decision,
My theory is, he made a decision based on what his family wanted and his wife, and maybe then they felt bad knowing he really wanted to play a little more and could still play. And I don't know, but you knew the Buccaneers knew something. There was a possibility, and they never slammed the door shut on a possible return.
And the funny thing is that in Brady's tweet, he said he has unfinished business. What does he have to accomplish? I mean, he's won 7 Super Bowls. He's won 5 Super Bowl MVPs, made $1 billion. I mean, unfinished business. That's the funniest thing I've ever heard.
I don't know. There's a weird trend, though. When he loses a playoff game, the next year he wins a Super Bowl.
They win Super Bowl.
I feel bad for the guy who paid over $500,000 for his last touchdown pass. The ball.
I don't feel bad for that person.
Yeah, he's probably loaded with money.
$500. Well, who's paying $500,000 for a sports memorabilia thing? Not
somebody who has tons of money to waste. But now that's gonna be worthless. So
yeah. Kirk Cousins signed a 1-year, $34 million extension, I think it was.
Yeah.
And he is 59-2 in his career and has made over $231 million.
Good for him.
Yeah. That's all.
Take it if you can get it. Man. Take it if you can get it.
Must be nice.
Yeah, it's going to be a very fascinating NFL season.
Yeah.
There's not a ton of huge names still out there on free agency. There's a couple. But like you said, the quarterback movement just has really changed the landscape.
Yeah, and I mean Watson. It sounds like it's going to be either New Orleans or Carolina as of right now. It sounds like.
Right.
I did read right before the show that the Colts really wanted to meet with Watson, but the Texans were like, no,
they're not going to trade him inside the division.
Yeah, we're not going to trade in division.
And if they trade him, they want to get him out of the AFC completely. So I understand that 100%. And it'd be interesting being a fan of the Saints or the Panthers, because personally, I'm glad Denver got Russell Wilson. I don't want to deal with Deshaun Watson, even though I don't really like him. But as a Saint fan or a Panther fan, maybe you kind of feel the same way, but you also don't want your division rival to get them and become better than you. So it's like you're torn on what you want to happen.
I'm glad the Dolphins shut the door on that one too.
Yes.
Didn't want to deal with that whatsoever.
No, and the Texans are going to be terrible, but I think they're doing the right thing. Get rid of him, get a bunch of picks, and just start rebuilding.
Fire Lovie Smith after a year. Lovie Smith and his son.
And the Jaguars, man, they're going all out like they do every year on the first.
The Jaguars are the worst run franchise in the NFL. Trent Baalke's the worst general manager. They gave Christian Kirk, who was Arizona's 3rd receiver last year,
sometimes 4th.
Sometimes 4th. $84 million.
Yeah.
I also just read they gave Evan Ingram, tight end, who can't stay healthy, hasn't been that good, $10 million.
Yeah.
Jaguars continue to stay bad. And it's kind of pathetic that they have a conference championship game appearance more recently than a lot of teams too.
Should have made a Super Bowl.
Easily should have made a Super Bowl. They absolutely should have.
Yeah, it's I don't know what they do every offseason, but they make themselves look like a nice, sexy pick to a bunch of free agents, and it doesn't help them at all. So at least they don't have Urban there anymore. What a train wreck.
Yeah, that was a.
I think they have a good head coach now.
Who is it? I forget.
Doug Peterson.
That's right.
I think he's a pretty good coach.
He at least adds credibility.
Yeah,
right away.
Super Bowl winning coach. So
yeah. Urban. That was a fun train wreck to watch happen in slow motion the entire season.
It was just like a movie. Like something every week was happening. It's like what he's topping the last bit of controversy he was in. So man, but it's funny. You know that GIF on Twitter that gets thrown around a lot. A door gets smashed in. It's Big Bird standing there. That's kind of what I feel like the NFL does whenever there's a big storyline in another league, like the MLB is coming back or something big happens in NBA. Boom, something bigger happens in NFL. Like over the weekend, everybody's talking about conference tournaments and NCAA tournament. Then Brady's coming back.
Like half hour after the final team was selected. Tom Brady announced he's coming back.
Yep. But I love the NFL. I know you love the NFL. A lot of our listeners and viewers out in Tan and J-Man Show Nation love the NFL. So we'll have plenty more to talk about in the coming weeks.
It's hard to believe the draft's just like a month and
I know.
some change away.
It's
Goes quick.
There's no off season, and then we'll know we'll know the
Yeah.
schedules. We'll know the
Yeah.
TV games. We'll know all that stuff. So.
Yep. All right, now for NCAA tournament. Before we go any farther, I do have a college basketball word association that I'm going to do real quick. This is Wooden Award winners from the previous 15 years, but I took out the Big Ten players that have won it, like no Luka Garza.
I like that. I feel like we've covered the Big Ten.
Yeah, Trey Burke won it.
Yep.
Yeah, which I think all those guys have been on a word association.
Right.
So, starting with Obi Toppin.
High flyer. Man, he was fun to watch for the Dayton Flyers.
Mm-hmm.
What could have been for them had that was their chance had COVID not struck. They were
a real popular Final Four team pick that year. Zion Williamson.
Freak athlete. Been a bust in the NBA, though.
Yeah, he can't keep his weight under control.
No, and it gets hurt a lot. Just not been the player I thought he was going to be. I remember and blowing out a shoe against UNC. I'll never forget that. So, but he was just a monster in college.
Jalen Brunson,
solid player, kind of a full tool player, if you will.
Yeah.
He was on some good teams.
Pretty good NBA career too with Dallas.
Yeah, he is.
Frank Mason.
Completely forgot about him till right now. Man, it's amazing listening to already all these Wooden Award winners. I mean, they were great players on great teams. That's usually how it goes. It's not always the best player in the nation. It's who's the best player on top 5 best teams. So,
Buddy Hield.
He could shoot. Still can shoot. Playing well for the Indiana Pacers, at least when they first acquired him. He put that Oklahoma team on his back. Yeah,
and then I think
they got smacked in the Final Four
to Jalen Brunson's
Villanova
team by like 45 or something.
They got
in
killed,
the semifinal game.
Gosh, he could shoot.
Yeah, he was a scorer. Doug McDermott.
Dougie Buckets. His Creighton teams were always fun to watch. You know, McDermott's out there playing with a T-shirt, playing for his dad, and he could just fill it up. Creighton's got a good team this year. They're going to be scary. They're what are they? I
think they're a 9.
I knew they were 8 or 9. Yeah, they're 9 seed down there in the Midwest region. So
okay, I think Doug McDermott is the sole reason that Creighton is now in the Big East. Because they're pretty good. They were a Missouri Valley Conference team. I could be
back
wrong
in the Kyle Korver days. You're right. They were Missouri Valley.
And it seems like they were still MVC when McDermott was there too. And then he kind of. Creighton has always had a pretty good basketball program, but it seems like McDermott took it to the next level, and now they're a Big East school.
Yeah. Yep.
Anthony Davis.
Unibrow. He's had, of course, a good pro career for the Pelicans and now the Lakers. But, he was pretty dominant in college, led Kentucky to a championship. Cal's only championship in Kentucky.
Yeah. Jimmer Fredette.
Oh, Jimmer. Talk about range.
Yeah.
Our good buddy Cameron Screeton is his favorite non-IU player, I think, of all time. Man, he made Brigham Young must watch every week.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I think he's still tearing it up in China too.
He's putting up like 80 once in a while.
He's putting up a ton of points there. I think we've had this guy on the list before. I can't remember. Blake Griffin.
Oh, he was one of my favorite NBA players at one time. Remember when we won the dunk contest in 2011, I got a jersey of Blake Griffin when he's a Clipper. And then as he got going more in the NBA, it kind of became more or less likable for me. But talk about his highlight reel of dunks. So good.
His first few years in the NBA, he was much must-watch TV to see what he was going to do, especially in the dunk contest, jumping over cars. And it was fun to watch.
I'll never forget his Oklahoma team beating Purdue in overtime in the preseason NIT in 2008, 41 free throws to 5, a Jim Burr special.
Or whatever happened to old Jimmy Burr.
Well, he retired, but
I'll never forget him screwing over Rutgers, and I think their last Big East tournament.
When they threw the ball up in the air.
Yeah.
He was the first official I became. I didn't like, and then there's been a whole list since.
He was the first official that I actually knew his name. Which
is
usually not good, and then
exactly
Eddie Hightower and Those guys.
Now it's Carchinson and Borowski. And
DJ Carsonson's my least favorite.
He's awful.
I think he's trash.
He is awful.
Bo, I don't like Bo, but I think he's a pretty good ref.
I agree with you.
He's kind of TV Teddy.
Yes, wants to make about himself.
Teddy liked to make about himself, but he's a pretty good ref.
Yeah, I agree.
Tyler Hansbrough.
Psycho T. I loved him on the Pacers. Had a retro Pacers jersey of him. Getting punched by Allen Henderson, that Duke, North Carolina game, busted open. I always compared him to Tim Tebow of college basketball. He was just one of the best college basketball players of all time. Mm-hmm. Okay NBA player.
Yeah, and they were there at like the same time too.
Yeah, they were the models of college sports. I mean, 4-year athlete. You know, I watched him play up in South Bend, McDonald's All-American game, and he became probably the most successful player from that game.
Yeah.
It was not a good McDonald's All-American class.
That's a bad class.
But yeah, it was, and he didn't even stick out during that game. Mm. So,
Kevin Durant.
Man, he was awesome at Texas. Could only bench like 185 or something, maybe 165, but he was so good at Texas. I mean, everybody knew he was going to be a one and done, and then the Blazers took Odin over Durant. So
yeah, that was
oops.
That was a bad one.
They have a couple. They got a couple of draft picks they take back.
Yeah, Sam Bowie.
Yeah.
JJ Redick.
One of my favorite college players of all time. I know he was a Dookie and everything, but I love the way he played. Sharpshooter. Guy literally like never missed a free throw. Had a really long, pretty good NBA career. Mm-hmm. Now he's a really good NBA commentator or in-studio analyst. He's really good at that. He's got good podcasts going. He was definitely a hateable Duke guy, but I enjoyed watching him.
I was listening to a podcast with him. Actually, I saw it on TikTok, him talking about this, and I'm probably going to screw up the story, but he was talking about Coach K, and I think it was after his sophomore junior year. They got beat fairly early in the NCAA tournament, and he's sitting there in the locker room, and K comes up to him and said something like, "The reason why we did not go to the national championship this year is because you're not a championship winning player." He said, that hurt so bad.
Yeah.
Then he comes out and scores, I think, 29 a game his senior year. I don't remember what they ended up doing in the tourney.
I'm sure Coach K knows how to press his players' buttons, but he probably doesn't do it the nicest way.
Yeah. JJ goes, that was like the meanest thing anyone's ever said to me, but it motivated me.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Andrew Bogut.
Oh, man, Utah. He made the Utes fun to watch. Mm-hmm. Number 1 overall draft pick by the Milwaukee Bucks. He single-handedly carried Utah, I think, for a decent run in the NCAA tournament, but a lot of people thought they would get to the Final Four, which they hadn't been since Majerus and Andre Miller were there in the late 90s, but didn't quite get there, but he was an awesome college player.
Jameer Nelson.
Oh, man. Those are fun St. Joe's teams. Sam Delonte West, Matt Carroll. Phil Martelli was the coach. Yeah, they were awesome to watch. Small gym.
Speaking of Delonte West, he was doing real rough there for a while, but he's like trying out for like the Big 3 tournament.
Turned his life around, It's very neat.
I think he was homeless for a while.
Yeah. So got addicted to drugs. Yep.
Yeah, good to see. Last one here, TJ Ford. Texas.
Oh, man. Another Milwaukee Buck hurt his neck really bad, and the NBA had to be stretchered off. Mm-hmm. I don't even know if you remember that.
I do remember that.
He was really good at Texas. His senior year, they went to the Final Four down in New Orleans in 2003. They knocked Purdue out in the second round, I think by about 10 points. It was a competitive game. That was Gene Katie's last NCAA tournament game. But, yeah, solid point guard, one of the better ones I've seen in college basketball.
Yeah, that is it.
And that is the Word Association segment, which is brought to you by Rhett Lee, attorney at law. Rhett Lee in the I lost my read. There it is. Rhett Lee in the law office of Andrew Key, LLC, are located at 206 4th Street in Logansport, Indiana. Rhett provides legal services to the people of North Central Indiana and practices criminal defense, family law, and personal injury. If you need a lawyer who cares about your results and will fight for you, contact Rhett today to schedule a free consultation at 574-722-2221.
One of our favorite weeks of the year, if not our favorite week of the year. I said last week was my favorite week of the year, but I think this is actually my favorite week of the year. NCAA tournament starts tomorrow night. It was a weird schedule last year. I'm glad they're back to being a normal NCAA tournament. I hated that the round of 64 started on Friday and went Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Hated that. Glad it's back to its normal. And we have actual regions where the regions meant nothing last year because they all played in Indianapolis. So it's just nice to have a normal NCAA tournament.
Yeah, amen. Fans back, regular selection show, like you said. Just feels good again. First one we've had since 2019.
Yeah. It's a dream come true. Looking at the bracket here, who do you think, what one seed has the easiest route to the Final Four?
Well, I don't think any of them is that cakewalk.
No.
And I know a lot of people disagree with me, but I think Gonzaga.
Oh, absolutely. I think the West region is by far the easiest.
Yeah.
You have 2-seeded Duke. They're good. They're always good. Texas Tech, is that a 3 seed that's going to really scare you? Arkansas at the 4, UConn at the 5, Boise State at the 8, Memphis 9. I guess they were the number 1 overall seed, so they kind of deserve to have the easiest route. But even like Michigan State is 7.
I'm kind of getting Gonzaga fatigue.
Yeah.
Even though they've never won a national championship, it's just they roll through their easy conference every year.
Yep.
And they get there, and then they're always at least making the Elite Eight, it seems like. If not the Final Four or the championship game, like we've seen them do twice. But I don't know. I would like to see somebody – I'd love to see them join the Pac-12 or something for basketball, but then the Pac-12 would have to add yet another team.
Yeah.
I don't know. Even getting in the Mountain West would be better than the WCC.
Absolutely. The Mountain West has 4 teams in, I believe.
Yeah, so I would just love them to get somewhere else.
Yeah, and it doesn't sound like they have any desire to leave.
No.
Why would you just run? But it seems like it'd get boring watching
They're
them go.
A college basketball powerhouse in a non-Power 6 conference.
Yeah, it seems like it should hurt them come tournament time. Just the fact that St. Mary's has been consistently good for years now. But still, that's the only team in there. San Francisco made it this year, which is huge. So I guess they had 3 teams make it.
That's true. That's the most they've had in a long time. But
maybe ever.
And your recruits go there because Mark Few's a great coach. You're going to be on national television a lot, especially in non-con because you play big-time games. Yep. So they make up for it with hard non-conference schedule usually. But I don't know. I'm getting tired of them.
Yeah. And they are getting these top recruits now that they've never gotten. And for the reasons you said, they're going to be probably a 1 seed. I don't remember the last time they weren't a 1 seed in the NCAA tournament. It's been a minute.
Good luck in a high 4-star or a 5-star out west over there.
No shot. They recruit from all over the world.
I know they do, yeah.
They've had so many guys from like Europe or even Eastern Europe that have turned into these superstar players.
Right.
Mark Few, he might be the best coach in the nation.
Oh, he's a great one.
But
what 1 seed do you think has the toughest road?
1 seed has the toughest. As you said, none of them are real easy. I think Gonzaga's is real easy. I think Kansas's would be the second easiest.
Yeah, I agree.
Just for the fact that the 3 seed is Wisconsin. Providence is your 4, Iowa's your 5, which I think we talked about Iowa being maybe the team best prepared to go to a Final Four this year.
They can
in
shoot.
The Big Ten. They are hot right now. Baylor's is tough. Purdue's a scary 3. Kentucky is Kentucky.
I think Arizona's is the toughest.
I would probably lean towards Arizona. I think that region is probably far and away the toughest region.
All top 5 seeds are pretty good teams.
Yeah, you could even go as far as saying Loyola being a 10 because I think they're an awfully good 10.
I don't know about Colorado State being a 6. 25-5 though.
Yeah, in fact, that's one of my upsets, and I think a lot of people will pick Michigan to win that one. Which
I actually do have Colorado State beating Michigan.
Do you?
I just think Michigan's.
I don't think they should have made it.
I just think. I don't think they've played good basketball for a long time. They got a lot of distractions. It seems like going on there.
Yep.
We can get talking to Michigan in more detail in a little bit.
Yeah, and Arizona will be without their point guard for probably this weekend. He might be
Yeah.
back for the Sweet 16 if they get there.
Mhm.
Shouldn't obviously have any problem with the 16th
They're so
seed.
good.
But yeah, they're athletic. They're big guys just blocking shots. I mean, they had Matherin, I forget his first name. Illinois played them earlier in the year. Kofi played his worst game maybe of the season, and it was a 3-point game with 25 seconds left. They ended up losing. But the fact that Illinois has played them already and they know them
Right.
could help them out should Illinois get that far.
Absolutely. Can't hurt.
It definitely can't. And Illinois was Curbelo list too
Yeah.
at that point. But I mean, it wouldn't shock me to see like a Seton Hall or TCU knock off Arizona if they're without their point guard. It's just the tournament is becoming less and less predictable every single year.
Mhm.
And I'm prepared to lose a significant amount of money this weekend.
Yep. Yep, me too. Well, let's go region by region. First off, before we break down our picks, loyal viewer of the show, Sean Shriver, sent in a good question. He wants us to pick in each region a team seeded 6th or higher that we think could make a splash. So let's start with the West region.
West region, I don't really like. I mean, it's almost a cop out in my opinion to pick Alabama because I think they're even like ranked right now. So I didn't pick Alabama. But
I don't have Alabama winning.
Yeah,
I think either Rutgers or Notre Dame beats them.
You think they get them? I had Alabama winning because it's so. I hate picking those.
I know.
Because you don't know who's going to win.
I know.
And,
that's why I wait to fill out my bracket till Thursday morning because that Rutgers Notre Dame game. I think it's gonna be a good one because I think Rutgers is better. Yeah. Notre Dame can shoot it. So
yeah.
But
yeah. So the team I have listed is 10 seed Davidson.
Yep, I agree.
Foster Loyer. That's a fascinating matchup because Foster Loyer was at Michigan State for his first 2 or 3 years. I can't remember, and now he's averaging almost 20 a game.
Yep.
Bob McKillop.
I think your dog agrees in the background.
Yeah, he needs to shut up. Bob McKillop,
is a great coach.
I mean, it really started with Steph Curry.
Yeah. Steph put him on the map.
Steph absolutely put him on the map, and now they're a popular team to maybe even knock off a Duke.
Yeah, I haven't beaten Michigan State, so.
I haven't beaten Michigan State as well, and playing Duke in the second round.
Another sneaky team I could see pulling an upset. 13 seed Vermont. I don't have it down.
Yes.
Wouldn't shock me though.
It wouldn't shock me at all. I watched them I always, for whatever reason, watched that conference championship game. It seems like Vermont's always the one in it.
American East, isn't that the American East conference?
It's always like 11 o'clock
it's
Eastern
an early
time
one.
in the morning. And for whatever reason, I always watch it. They play a slow pace of basketball, much like Wisconsin. They don't turn it over. They shoot it pretty well. Could absolutely see them knocking off Arkansas. Mm-hmm. I don't know if Vermont's going to have enough offense. But it seems like Vermont's always, I mean, they're 28-5, only giving up 60 points a game this year. I mean, that could easily be like last year Ohio beating Virginia in that 13-4 game. So that's one I almost had, but I just have a hard time picking a 13 seed to beat a 4.
Let's go down to the East.
In the East, I have, let's see here. I have San Diego State in the East. I think they're in the Midwest. East, wrong one.
I was going to say, where are they at?
East, I have, let's see, Murray State.
I was going to say, I think a lot of people have Murray State. I only have Murray State winning 1 game, but they're 30-2.
Yeah, I don't see them getting past Kentucky.
Right.
San Francisco's awfully good as well. That's an interesting 10-7.
I was shocked they did that, to be honest.
Have 2 mid to low majors playing in that. I guess it kind of makes sense in their mind. I assume it would. But yeah, Murray State's been good for a long time now. They can absolutely make. I again don't like picking a 6 seed because in the 6 seed is Texas, who's pretty good.
Well, and Virginia Tech's a hot team. A lot of Americans get picked them
hot.
because they got hot because they played well against UNC and Duke. But you got to remember they made a prayer to get by Clemson, or they wouldn't even.
Yes, a miracle. Yeah, so, I've seen a lot of people have Virginia Tech in the Sweet 16, which I don't.
They shoot it well.
I just don't even see them getting past Texas.
Yeah.
I've heard a lot of IU fans complaining about them getting a play-in game as a 12. Well, you know what? Their resume wasn't very good heading into the weekend. The only reason why they're in is because they beat Michigan and Illinois. And so I've heard IU fans saying they're playing so well right now. Well, have they? They were so bad in February, and they just happened to win back-to-back.
They lost 7 of their last 9 coming into the Big Ten tournament.
Yeah, so
they were down 17 at one point to Michigan.
So they've now lost 8 of their last 11.
Yeah.
So,
and if Andre Carbello makes a layup, I don't think we're talking about them being in the tournament.
I don't think they make it. No. So. But they got in.
If I was an Indiana fan, I would be a little ticked where they got placed because they have to play Dayton tomorrow night. If they win, they got to fly clear to Portland and play Thursday. That's not easy.
Now, I will say if they were to beat Wyoming, beating St. Mary's, like St. Mary's being the 5's got to be kind of like a dream to them, though. I mean,
they'll be a popular 12-5 upset if they beat Wyoming.
It's a lot better than facing a UConn or a Houston or who's the 5 in the Midwest, Iowa, which they wouldn't have faced Iowa anyway. But yeah.
But my actual team, I have this team making the Sweet 16, ranked above. It's the 8th seeded North Carolina Tar Heels.
Oh,
I have them taking Baylor down. I have a weird feeling that they're one of those teams that has a lot of talent. They've underachieved, and they're going to click at the right time. Because I think Baylor's a week 1. I think Kentucky's better than Baylor. Baylor's banged up. I don't see Baylor doing it this year.
Yeah. We might not even be talking about North Carolina being in if they wouldn't have knocked off Duke on the road.
You're right.
And they ended up getting an 8, so they were in pretty easily, but they were right on that line there until then.
And Marquette and North Carolina will be a good game in the first round.
Yeah, it should be. And most 8-9 games are really good, but that'll be a good one. Shaka Smart now taking 3 different teams to the NCAA.
It's pretty impressive. Yep. Let's go over to the South.
I think Loyola.
Yep.
I don't see any possible way that Ohio State beats them.
It's going to be – that might be the most popular upset pick. And just because of that, I almost picked Ohio State because E.J. Liddell could put that team on his back.
Easily.
But they are just talking about a team that's going in the wrong direction heading into the tournament. They've lost all their momentum.
And, I mean, you said you had Colorado State beating Michigan. I have Michigan beating Colorado State. Michigan's a scary 11.
They are. Absolutely are.
Yeah. I've seen a lot of people picking, or Seth Davis, for one, picking Chattanooga to get to the Sweet 16, which I love when teams do. Or how often have we seen a commentator do that? This 13 seeds go into the Sweet 16, and then the 4 seed beats them by like 28 or something like that. Yeah, so I'm hoping that's what happens. But
in Chattanooga, if they didn't hit that half court against Furman,
they're not even in. Yeah. So, and I've seen a lot of Illinois fans complaining like this draw is terrible. Well, if Illinois can't beat Chattanooga, they have a lot more issues than the draw.
Yeah.
Chattanooga just lost back-to-back home games just 2 weeks ago to like Virginia Military Institute and somebody else. So if you can't beat them, I mean, quit complaining.
Right. Down in the Midwest.
This is where I have San Diego State. I don't think they get past Kansas, but San Diego State always plays fantastic defense, and they're usually super athletic too. So I think they could give Kansas a game.
I think there's a lot of teams succeeding up that can make a splash, but I like South Dakota State. I don't have them past Iowa, but I think they upset Providence. Providence has had a great year. Ed Cooley's great coach. They won the Big East season title. They got smacked so bad by Creighton. you got to think that's going to stay with them a little bit.
They are the Wisconsin of the Big East this year, where they've won so many games by one possession. It seems like their luck is turning. Go back to San Diego State. They're only giving up 57 points a game. So
that defense, they've always been a good defensive team.
Yeah, always have since the Kawhi Leonard
But,
days.
I mean, I could see USC. I mean, I got them winning a game. I could see them doing something. I think Iowa State beats LSU. LSU's not going to be the right mindset going in the tournament. Yes. Just firing their coach.
This is probably wishful thinking, but I have Colgate over Wisconsin.
Oh, wow. In Milwaukee.
14-3.
In Milwaukee.
Yeah, in Milwaukee, Colgate their pace is so much faster than Wisconsin's. Now, Wisconsin can slow the game down and all that. Johnny Davis is not healthy. It was pretty evident against Michigan State. And honestly, I think Wisconsin's going in the opposite direction. They're one of the weakest top 3 seeds I've ever seen.
Well, they beat Syracuse earlier this year, and if Colgate would pull off that upset, they'd put a smile on a lot of people's faces.
Especially mine.
See what I did there? Colgate,
yes.
toothpaste,
Colgate,
smile.
Toothpaste. Yep. I think USC is very capable of making a run to maybe even the Final Four as a 7. I don't have them getting past Auburn.
I don't either.
But
well, let's go over our Sweet 16s real quick. I'll let you start in the West.
This might be wishful thinking. I think Illinois can get hot, but they can also go cold and lose to Chattanooga. They're so wishy-washy. But it's Sweet 16 or bust for me. If they don't make a Sweet 16, it's a colossal failure. So I have them in there against Arizona, but
I do too.
Losing to Arizona.
I do as well.
In the Sweet 16 in the South region. And then I have Tennessee over Villanova in the Sweet 16 there.
I have Villanova over Tennessee, but that was a very tough one for me because I think Tennessee's really good.
Tennessee's rolling, although Villanova did smack them by 18 earlier in the year.
Yep.
In the Midwest region, I have Iowa over Kansas.
I have Kansas over Iowa. I mean, Iowa would not shock me by any means, but I think eventually Iowa's lack of post play is going to bite them.
That Philip Rebraca is not very good. To the point that Chris Murray, Keegan's twin brother, is playing the 5 a bunch.
But that's scary because all 5 guys can hit perimeter shots.
Yeah. So. Which, Kofi actually did a pretty good job on Chris Murray last Sunday, which was shocking because he usually struggles against guys like that. I have Auburn over Iowa State in the Sweet 16.
I have Auburn over Wisconsin.
And then in the East region, I have UCLA over Baylor.
I have UCLA over North Carolina. I
have Kentucky over Purdue.
I also have Kentucky over Purdue.
That'd be a good one if it happens.
It makes me nervous. I'm like you. I know Purdue's a 3 seed, and this is their best shot probably to make a Final Four, and they've had in a long time. But they got to at least make the second weekend for me to look because they, unlike you, my team has nothing to show for it. They didn't win the Big Ten regular season title, and they lost in the Big Ten tournament title. So
that was the one silver lining from last year is winning the Big Ten tournament.
Right.
So, in the West region, I have Duke over Texas Tech.
I do too.
And Gonzaga over Arkansas.
I was Gonzaga over UConn.
Okay. Elite 8, I have Gonzaga over Duke.
I do as well.
I have Kentucky over UCLA.
I have UCLA over Kentucky.
I have Auburn over Iowa.
I got Kansas over Auburn.
And I have Tennessee over Arizona.
I have Arizona over Villanova.
So your Final Four is Gonzaga, UCLA.
Arizona, Kansas.
Arizona, Kansas. Okay. I have Gonzaga over Kentucky.
I have Gonzaga over UCLA.
And then I have Auburn over Tennessee.
I have Arizona over Kansas.
And I think Gonzaga will win their first national title.
I have Arizona winning a tight one over Gonzaga 75-70. But their point guard better get back.
Yeah, he's got to get back. I just realized I haven't done a J-Man's Booker prediction of the week. I think of the 16 teams left in the Sweet 16, I think every single one of them – no, I take that back. 15 of the 16 teams in the Sweet 16 will be top 5 seeds. I don't think we see too many Cinderellas this year.
That's fair.
So we will know that by Sunday night. J-Man's Book Prediction Week brought by Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance Agent Travis Watching for life. Home, auto, business, renters, workers, comp, and farm insurance. Contact Travis at 219-869-4561. Whether you want an epic burger, hand-tossed pizza, hand-bread, tenderloin, seafood, craft beer, or handcrafted cocktail, the Damn Landing is a sponsor of the Tan and J-Man Show. It is the place to be. They have delicious beer, barbecue, pizza, steaks,
burgers.
Damn Landing burgers. Damn Landing is the place to be located 1305 Ewing Road in Rochester. I'm sure that beer garden is packed tonight.
Yes, I bet it is.
So.
All right. Yes. So Birdie Bogey question. Bill Self became the 3rd coach in NCAA history to lead his team to be a 1 seed at least 10 times. Who are the other 2 coaches?
Did Mike Krzyzewski do it?
Yes, he's done it 14 times, I believe.
Roy Williams?
Got yourself a birdie, J-Man. He did it 13 times.
I almost said Adolph Rupp for some reason. I'm glad I didn't overthink it.
Yep. So I was hoping you'd forget about Roy for some reason. So
well, I could never forget about Roy and his boy Sean May.
Kansas and North Carolina. He did it both places.
Yep.
So.
Oh, man.
I think that's a one-stroke lead.
That's my first birdie in at least 6 months.
I think it's first in a while.
It's been a long time.
I honestly thought in my head, for some reason, you had a better chance at the team one I gave than the coach one. So, prove me wrong.
Yeah, I don't even remember the team one. What was the...
It was UNLV.
UNLV. Yeah.
1990. So.
All right, thanks for watching the Tan and J-Man Show. Have a fantastic week of watching college basketball, everybody. We will be back at it next Monday to recap all the games. Have a great weekend, buddy.